Hey guys, you're welcome back to my channel. In this tutorial, we'll be looking at this Boho jumpsuit that can pass for a beach wear. So first of all, I'll draft it on a paper. I'll get an horizontal line that will serve as my shoulder line. And I'm placing 3 inches inwards from the front center line, drawing the dot all the way to the length. Then on the shoulder line, now this will be like an off shoulder because we'll be using straps as sleeves later. So I'll place a half of the shoulder measurement, which is 6 plus 1.5 inches, because we'll be having a little ruche around the chest region. So I'm subtracting 4 inches as the off shoulder. This for an 8-year-old, and then I'm placing 7.5 inches downwards. Now plus the 4 inches, that's 7.5. So it therefore means I am placing 3.5 inches from the shoulder line that I placed there, connecting that dot and extending that point horizontally. That's the chest line. Okay, now because I have this concept in mind, I will place a quarter of the bust circumference plus 1 inch. Then I will connect that to meet the shoulder line, like so. So the next thing I will place, I'm subtracting 4 inches. I'm gonna mark the half length now, so that is 14 inches, and then the hip line of 20 inches. And this will be a cut together, outfit, a cut together jumpsuit. So I'm placing 5 inches more for the crotch line. So that means 25 inches for the crotch line, measuring from the length. Okay, so I'll simply draw out these lines. So this will be a cut together jumpsuit, and it means there will be no joining at the half length, but the joining will go into the center front. So now, after drawing out those lines, I will have to label them: chest line, waist line, hip line, the crotch line. Now on the waistline, I am placing a quarter of the waist circumference plus 1 inch as seam allowance, and then I'll connect that to meet the bust measurement. And then I'll be marking the dart position of 3 inches. I'm taking upwards with 5 inches, that's the dart leg, and I'll connect that point which I have on the waistline to the dart length, and then I will extend it horizontally to meet the bust, to meet towards the chest line, and I'm placing 1 inch downwards from that horizontal line. I'll connect it to meet the bust point, like so, and that's the bust dart. So now on the hip line, I am placing a quarter of the hip circumference plus 1 inch as seam allowance, and I will place the same thing on the crotch line. So on the crotch line, I am extending it outwards with 2 inches. This for an 8-year-old, I have to repeat, but if it's for an adult, of course, you go out with about 3 inches. Okay, now this is a boho jumpsuit, so I need to give it all the ease. All right, so I'll connect that 2 inches on the crotch extension to meet the hip line, and I'll place the 2 inches all the way to the length. Connecting that dot, I will then connect the dot which I have from the waistline to the hip line, and I'm taking it straight down to the length. Now I will extend the dart leg to the length. That's because that's the point, I'll have to slash and spread. Now this method, I'll be using half a slash and spread method. At the crotch line there, because I want to give it some ease more, I'm going downwards with a half inch, and I will connect that to meet the curve which I had already. And I'll be using half inch, which will serve as the seam allowance, the seam allowance for the front center. Like I said, the front center will be open, so I'll be using this half inch to join it. So using this half inch to join it, I will then connect that to meet the crotch curve that we already have and then cut it out. Now after cutting it out, I will need to slash it. Like I said, I'm using the dart leg to slash it all the way to the bust point. I'll slash the bust, the bust dart, and then pin it down that way. Now using this bust line, it will make it easier for me to spread it as far as I will want to. So then when I've slashed that, I will place it on the fabric. I'm using about 4 inches to spread it. Okay, then I extend the length that I have on the paper. I will then extend the measurement I have on the bust circumference to the hip line. Now because this is the concept I have in mind, I'm just simply making that free around the waist, and so I'll connect what I have on the bust circumference to the hip line, and then placing this on the fabric, I am cutting out the back panel first. So I'll extend the crotch line with 2 inches and use about 1.5 inches for the same allowance all the way to the length. So from the crotch line now, I am adding about 1 inch. That's because I intended to use it as zipper allowance. But in the course of sewing this, I noticed that it would be okay for her to wear it with ease without a zipper, so there was no need for this zipper allowance. Okay, except you want to add zipper, then you can go ahead and add it. Other than that, you can simply maintain the half inch which you have already on the pattern, and that will save for the joining. So then I connected it to meet the crotch extension I have for the back, and when I'm done with that, I'll simply cut this out. So cutting this out, I'll just simply place what I have on the pattern on the fabric and cut out, and of course observing exactly what I observe for the back panel, around the waistline there and the length. Other than that, I am cutting exactly what I have on the pattern, and this is it. Now I'll simply join the middle. Okay, and when I'm done with that, I need to work on the gathers. Remember, I added 1.5 inches for the gathers. So I'll simply make the little ruche. Okay, please it out. I have about 7 there, but I want to reduce it to about 5 inches on both sides, so that's 10. Okay, now this for an 8-year-old, I have to repeat. So the shoulder is 12 inches, that's why I'm reducing it to 10. But if it's an adult with a shoulder of perhaps 16, you can work with 12 inches. Okay, so when I'm done with that, I have this strip that is about 15 inches length and 1.5 inches wide to pipe the neckline. After piping the neckline, I will simply take out the same allowance which I have for the side. Sew it all the way from the arm cuff to the length. Then for the crotch part, I'll simply bring the two crotch together, the front and the back crotch, pin it, and then I'll sew it on both ways. After sewing, this is what I have. I inserted an inside pocket for her. I simply measured from the arm cuff, I measured 8 inches downwards, and I gave it the opening of about 6 inches. So the next thing, I'll simply double fold the hem and then pipe the arm cuff. For the sleeve part, I am using these 4 straps that I've already torn out and simply giving it a neat edge. I will double fold it and then take it to the edge of the neckline. So it will be strong. I'll simply sew it the way, the shape that it has, so it will be firm on the neckline. I'll just sew it rectangular, just the way it is. So I'll fold it for the front, and I'll place it at the back panel too. So this will have to be two, of course, for the two sides. So I'll simply double fold it for the 4 points. That's what I'll be doing. I'll take it to the machine and sew it down, and that'll be it for our boho jumpsuit. So when I'm done sewing, I'll simply tie it like so, and we are done. This is how it is on our princess. Okay, some outfit I can use for a beach day. If this tutorial gives you any value, give me a thumbs up so that others can see it. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video.